Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. Very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. And welcome to Monday's edition of the DCEU Daily. And if you're feeling charitable, please smash that subscribe button. Please smash that like button. And for every single lovely charitable person who's doing it, I appreciate you, because this is a very small channel. And basically, I do not add fake followers. I do not add foreign devices and start subscribing to this channel. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. I'm seeing if this channel can become successful by you people actually embracing what I'm doing here. So today, we are going to be talking about if Jesse Eisenberg should return in the role of Lex Luthor in the DCEU, in the DC Extended Cinematic Universe. We're also asking today, would the DC Universe been better off without the DCEU? So we're being very controversial today. But firstly, with the breaking news that broke a couple of days ago, that the Batman is stopping production for the next 2 weeks because of the word no one allows us to say on YouTube. So let's again call it the epidemic. So because of this epidemic, basically, most films, apart from Warner Brothers films, and on my last DCEU Daily, I was bragging how Warner Brothers were going ahead with filming, and that was very, very exciting. Well, unfortunately, it looks like that the Batman will cease production and has ceased production for the next 2 weeks. What kind of frustrates me with this, not the fact that the film's stopping production, it's like everyone's reaction to it, oh no, it's going to be delayed. No, it's a 2-week break. The world is literally having a 2-week break. They will return to filming within the next 2 to 4 weeks. I would not worry about it. They can pick up the slack, and there will not be a delay in the release date. But of course, we want the film to carry on production, but not putting people's lives at risk, because the thing is, 80% of us can get through this, but it's the weaker people in our society, the elderly, people with underlying issues. We want to protect those people. So this is a good thing. This is for the best, and this is nothing to worry about. So would the DC kind of universe be better off if the DCEU never started? Of course bloody not. Of course bloody not. But I'm sure there's a lot of people out there saying, come on, Mick, it's a really bad franchise. Not a view that I hold, by the way, but a lot of people out there who think that like the DC universe, the comic universe and everything that's gone before it would have been better without the DCEU, because Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, really divisive movies that kind of split the opinion. Wonder Woman is universally loved. I think Shazam is pretty much loved as well, and Aquaman. So really, people look at Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, especially those people who don't like those movies, and say, yeah, we would have been better off without those movies. What? I wouldn't be able to have my daily fix of Man of Steel and BVS. Are you kidding me? No. The history of DC Comics would not have been better off without the DCEU. I'm sorry. It's an amazing set of films. It's unique. It's different. They're beautiful films. And thank the gods. Thank the DC gods for Zack Snyder, Chris Terrio, Christopher Nolan, and David Goyer, and all this wonderful cast who are part of the DCEU family. I am grateful for it. I am still fighting for the Snyder Cut and the Ayer Cut. You can see just below me, I've hashtagged both things. So please go onto Twitter and hashtag them as well. And don't forget, you can find me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Now, the next debate we're going to really go at now is, should Jesse Eisenberg return to the DCEU as Lex Luthor? Now, a lot of people will say no. Again, it's like the BVS MOS thing. A lot of people didn't like his casting. Now, I'll be honest, when I heard he was cast, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Now, I've always known, especially since The Social Network and, a string of other movies, that Jesse Eisenberg is one of the great talents of this acting generation. There is no question about that. but I would never have cast him as Lex Luthor. But in BVS and watching BVS, one thing I know for sure, he was a fabulous Lex Luthor. I would personally bring him back. Most of me would bring him back, but then I think of the divisive nature of bringing him back because people don't like him. So what do you do? Well, I believe this is what they should do. And I've mentioned this before many videos moons ago on my channel. Vincent D'Onofrio played Kingpin, right, in the Daredevil Netflix series, right? Now, in Batman v Superman, Lex does make many a mention about his father. Now, there's hints that he's dead, but it's never actually confirmed. Maybe if I keep this house the way it is, maybe he'll come back. And then he says, no. But there was never any confirmation that Lex Luthor Sr., because he's called Lex, I think basically the Lex we see is Alexander, and his father was actually the Lex Luthor. So this is very interesting. So as he was never confirmed to be dead, you could actually bring in Vincent D'Onofrio, who played Kingpin in the Daredevil Netflix series, as Lex Luthor Sr., and also have Jesse Eisenberg as Alexander Luthor, as the Lex Luthor Jr. This would be a powerful dynamic. So, and yes, damn it, you would call Vincent D'Onofrio as Lex Luthor Sr. Well, he's actually called Lex. I would have called him Lionel, but they're not going to call him Lionel because it's pretty clear that he's called Lex as well. But damn it, I wish we could just call him Lionel. Should we just call him Lionel for the sake of this conversation, so we don't get confused and mixed up here? So basically, if you bring in Lionel Luthor, right, who's obviously going to be Lex Luthor Sr., and you have this powerful dynamic between them, because it's pretty clear from what Lex Luthor says in BVS that he was heavily abused psychologically and physically by his father, which led him to hate Superman. He saw his father as this mean, powerful God who was all-powerful in his life, right? So that's one of the reasons Lex loses his sanity, becomes who he becomes in BVS. And I think Vincent D'Onofrio and Jesse Eisenberg playing off together in the DCEU would be a very, very powerful framing point. I'm not suggesting that Walter Hamada is going to do this, but I certainly think he should do this. And this would be a very, very intelligent thing to do, because you've got this big, older, intimidating, bald Lex Luthor, right? And we already know that Vince looks great bald, thanks to Daredevil, right? So look, this will be brilliant. He's hinted about working with DC in the past. Obviously, nothing is set up or confirmed at this point, but I think that's a great way around it. By doing that, you can bring Jesse back. Jesse's already said he'd love to come back. Jesse's a great guy, he's a great lad, but he's an actor. He really is an actor, and Vincent D'Onofrio is certainly an actor. Two actors, as I'm calling them. These are people who are theatrically really trained, by, theatrical houses, proper places where, the old-time British actors used to go and train. So this would be a great thing. And for me, it's about finding a way of allowing Jesse to play the character he played in Batman v Superman and in the post-credit scene in Justice League. And I think the mainstream people actually started to get used to his Lex when they saw that post-credit scene. Even Grace Randolph saying his kind of attributes and his mannerisms seemed a lot more calmed down and a lot better in that post-credit scene. But I never had a problem with the way he played Lex. It is different to the comics, but it's not different to the New 52 graphic novels, where that's the Lex they were doing. And it certainly is that Lex if you've ever read the New 52. So I think that's a way around it. And who wouldn't want Vince D'Onofrio playing an older, intimidating Lex Luthor? Because what you got there is the ultimate Lex Luthor from the original kind of animated series everyone loved. A big, powering Lex Luthor. And then you've got the younger Lex Luthor Jr. And you've got these two up against each other. That's a very, very interesting dynamic. It gives you the Norman and Harry Osborn dynamic we saw in Raimi's Spider-Man films as well. So there's loads of levels that this would be a really, really good thing for. And that's certainly something I would do. So should he come back? Should Jesse return? Absolutely. Jesse Eisenberg has done nothing wrong. He gave everything for this role. Everything. It was well written. The way he manipulates Batman and Superman to fight is brilliant. And just because he's not our ultimate idea of what Lex Luthor should look like, it doesn't mean this actor should pay the price and never play this role again. He was exceptional in the role. Exceptional, I tell you. And absolutely does deserve to return. But it's not just important on this channel what I think. I'm not, I don't want this to be an echo chamber. So please comment down below with these things. How do you feel that the Batman has stopped production for 2 weeks? Do you think that the DC franchise would have been better off if the DCEU never began? That Man of Steel and BVS and Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman and Aquaman and Shazam were never made? I wholeheartedly disagree and think that it has enriched the DC universe of all types. And would you bring back Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor? And tell me what you like or don't like. Don't just tell me you like him or you hate him. Tell me why. And do you think my vision of bringing in Vince D'Onofrio, a.k.a. Daredevil, a.k.a. Kingpin from Daredevil, as a senior Lex Luthor, as a Lionel Luthor, and him and Jesse playing up against each other is a good idea? Comments down below. Let's interact, and I can't wait for this video to go up live. And of course, if you're watching it now on a premiere, it's already up live, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. Have a great Monday. Bye now.